Hello and welcome to the Everything F1 podcast with me, James Tiller, and alongside me from the Everything F1 team today, we've got Sean. Hi, Sean. How are you?
I am very, very good.
Good, good, good. Coops, we've got Coops along with us for the ride. How are you, Coops?
I'm all right.
We are discussing the Austrian Grand Prix today, and previewing and making our predictions for the race weekend. We are Everything F1. You can find us all on our social channels. We're on Facebook, Insta, X, TikTok, all at the handle at Join EF1, apart from TikTok, which is at EF1 Official. We're also on YouTube as well. We would love it if you'd hit the subscribe button on YouTube. We've got a competition running to get our subscribers up, basically. Once we hit 500 subscribers, we will be giving away a Lego Speed Champion set to one lucky winner. So just get yourself subscribed, and once you're subscribed, you're part of that competition, and we'll be drawing it as soon as we hit 500. So we would really appreciate the likes and follows, and share it with your friends, and they might like it too, and want to join in the competition as well. We are also sponsored by the raceworks.com, which is a fantastic merchandise company giving you F1 merch from around the whole grid. All teams have got their product on there, and you can get that at a discounted rate using the discount code EF1 at checkout. You get 10% off site wide. Now, the Austrian Grand Prix. Let's talk about the Austrian Grand Prix first, Sean. Are you a fan of the Austrian Grand Prix? Is it one of your go-to for action, or have you got some kind of criticisms about it?
Austria is one of my favorite races on the calendar and has been since the day it came back, 10
Yeah.
years ago, I want to say, 10 or 12, 10 or 11 years ago. I don't think there's been a single bad Grand Prix since. It's a classic track, but it's a big, wide track. There's enough fast corners, there's long straights, there's DRS zones, there's heavy braking, there's rain, there's sunshine, there's Max Verstappen fans, there's non-Max Verstappen fans. I cannot think of a bad Grand Prix over the past couple of years, unless you're a Lando fan. Last year wasn't great.
Mm.
But that's more of that's more of just what happened on the day, and I'm sure we'll chat about kind of the incidents of last year. But no, I absolutely adore the Austrian Grand Prix. If it was a slight bit easier to get to, I would have gone to it already. It is just, I mean, it looks beautiful up in the Styrian Hills, but it is difficult to get to. It's expensive to get to, unfortunately, from Ireland with accommodation and stuff like that. But I would. It's very, very high on my bucket list of races to go to. It's a great race every single year, and I cannot wait. I will not be surprised. In fact, I'll be shocked if this is not the best race of the season by a mile.
Oh, big
So
bold claim
far,
there.
so far anyway.
Coops, what about yourself? Are you a fan of the Austrian Grand Prix, just like Sean over there?
Yeah, yeah. Again, I market the tracks that I really like based on how well I tend to do them when I drive them in the Formula One game. And we all know I'm really
Mm.
bad at them. And that's one that I quite enjoy. Uh, so
Mm.
yeah, I do enjoy it. There's not usually a boring race. I think it's because it's quite a short track in general. Twisty corners. There's
Mm.
always something. Lewis Hamilton tripping over a Red Bull. Uh, the Verstappen Lando Norris rumble, Lewis Hamilton and Rosberg, they had their fight in that infamous season. So there's always something at some point in the race that you're like, ooh, what's going on here? So yeah, definitely a track worth watching or a race worth watching, I should put.
Yeah, and I kind of mirror your sentiments really. It's got lots of high speed straights, sharp braking zones, overtaking opportunities. Yeah, yeah. Was it Austria that got all the track limits violations as well?
Yes,
Was it last year?
100. It
And it was
was a
like,
couple of years ago. It was 160. Sorry, no, it was 1,200 over the whole weekend in
yeah,
2023 or something like that. It was absolutely ridiculous.
mm,
That's why they
And
put
actually,
that.
it's a good example of how they can change. They can actually change how the track is laid out and add gravel traps in. Obviously, being a bike track, they had to get approval
mm,
from MotoGP as well, but it worked for them too. They didn't want their drivers going a million miles offline, which they do like to do in MotoGP. And they took away the stupid sausage curbs that were launching the cars into the air, put the gravel traps back, and the cars stay within the lines, believe it or not. When you know, there's danger offline.
Hmm.
They stay on the track. It's a radical concept, but it worked really well in Austria, and we don't really see track limits anymore in Austria.
Well, that's it. So we'll see if that's a problem this year. Probably not, but we'll see. Let's go through the vital statistics as I've got them in front of me right here. Obviously, it's in the location is Spielberg, Austria. The Red Bull Ring, obviously sponsored by Red Bull themselves, because Red Bull is an Austrian company itself. The track length is 4.318 kilometers with 71 laps, which makes the total race distance of 306.452 kilometers. You've got 10 corners, 7 right, 3 left, DRS zones 3. You've got the pit straight between turns 1 and 3 and 3 and 4. And the current lap record is held by the Spaniard Carlos Sainz, who did it in 1 minute and 5.619 seconds. And he did that in 2020. So, yeah, I mean, is that going to be a potential possible lap record that's going to fall this weekend, Sean? Do you think the cars are set up to beat those records yet, or do you think they're just a little way off?
Well, it's a good question, actually, isn't it? I haven't checked. Do you know what tires are being used? Because if that new super soft tire is coming this weekend as well, then
We've
yeah, very likely.
yeah, we've got the softest range, so it's a C3, C4, and C5.
So I think there's a good chance that we see some records getting broken. Race lap record, possibly not, because they're not going to use that
Mm.
tire in the race, I would assume. But yeah, they've got the full handle on these cars now. They know how to make them super slippy in a straight line while still producing enough downforce. Yeah, I think we could see some records. Maybe not, like I said, maybe not the race lap record, but um, unofficial lap record, qualifying record is up for grabs this
Mm.
weekend. I would have thought.
And Coops, who are you expecting to do well? Is it a McLaren track every day of the week, or is it actually potentially somebody else going to be competing from the front?
I want to hazard the guess that Mercedes might do well.
Right, okay.
Canada was relatively warm and they won it. At the moment, the stakes seem to be stake of one, especially Hulkenberg seem to have found something with some recent upgrades. So
Mm.
I think it will still be McLaren, but I think Mercedes, I would be
Will make it difficult.
surprised if they're not near the front or there or thereabout.
And Sean, how about you? Do you think it'll be a McLaren masterclass this weekend? Do you think they've got something to make up for their lack of performance in the previous race? I say lack of performance, but I mean they still did fairly well, really. Uh, for Piastri, apart from Lando didn't, but Piastri did fairly well, all things considered. Do you think they've got something to make up for the last race this weekend
Yeah,
in Austria?
the last race this year, yes, for sure. Last
Mm,
race in Austria as well. Last year was they'd sort of just started to get their act together with the car. That Miami upgrade was bedding in now. They were second and third in sprint quali, second and third in quali, and then oh sorry, second and seventh in quali.
mm,
And then obviously Oscar finished second in the race last year, and Lando did not after the crash with Max. But they hadn't quite figured out how to win races yet. This time last year, they still hadn't won. They'd won one in Miami. Oscar still hadn't won a
mm,
race yet. Lando had only won his first one. The team had only was only starting to think, oh, maybe we might be in a championship fight this year. There's absolutely no excuse for them to be anything other than first and second every weekend. I think that's the bar they've set for themselves with their performances and their car. Masterclass, I hope so. On paper, this should be the track that suits them better than any track on the whole calendar. And it
mm.
should suit the drivers as well. I'm not going to do a Danica Patrick and say that this is a simple track because while it might look it on the map, it absolutely is not. And Coops, to your point, I absolutely adore driving this track on the game. It's one of my favorite tracks to race on the game. and it is a challenge. It's a proper challenge. It looks easy.
Mm.
It absolutely is not. It's just a riotously good lap. It's rapid, quick, even mid-race. It's really, really good fun, but it is a big challenge. But it should suit both of them. You've got the, I suppose, the kind of virtual walls of the gravel traps, and we've seen how good Lando can be with the virtual wall of a gravel trap on street circuits. He was quick in
Mm.
Canada until he wasn't quick in Canada. Um, and Oscar is a robot. The fast flowing nature of this track should suit him down to the ground as well. They were both rapid in
Mm.
qualifying last year. I do think this will suit them both. If they can both nail qualifying, it'll be a case of whichever one gets into turn one first will vanish. That's how it should be for them all season. But yeah, qualifying this weekend is going to be really interesting, really, really interesting. And I'm going to be at a wedding, so I'm going to miss it. So keep me updated, please.
We'll send you some messages on the
Yeah.
Slack.
See, just
Yeah.
for that couple deserve to get divorced very quickly after.
Well, thankfully they're not F1 fans, so I don't think they'll be listening. But yeah, I'll be able to watch the race.
That's
It's
not
okay.
very nice, Coops. Yeah, have
I'm
it on your
only,
phone,
I'm
as they
only
say I do.
joking. I'm only joking, but am I? Am I?
Coops, can anyone beat Red Bull at home? It's obviously Red Bull's
Yeah.
backyard. Max Verstappen's kind of made this place his personal playground over the years. But is it possible that McLaren will take the fight to them? Is it possible that Red Bull will actually bring the fight to McLaren and win their home race again, like they have done so many times before?
Well, firstly, let's try and say Max Verstappen's personal playground without spitting all over your keyboard. And secondly, well, he can't bring too much for the fight because he can still get banned.
Mm,
So
that's
uh,
true.
he has said he's not going to change his fighting style. Sorry, driving style. Uh, but yeah, I mean, Max will bring the fight and bring Max to something. He's proven he'll get up there and be there or thereabouts. So,
Mm.
we'll wait and see. Whether it's going to be consistent throughout the rest of the year is another thing. Uh, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one with Red Bull this season because they'll be there or thereabouts, but one minute they just get pole and then they win the race. The other time they're just not really there or thereabouts, and they're kind of in the top half of the top 10, and that's about it. Not quite as bad as Ferrari in that respect, but if Max can put it together, he'll be the one that'll probably do something to the McLarens.
Yeah, it's kind of like Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone. He finds something extra. And he always seems to be battling out for a position. Do you think that the fact that they're at the Red Bull home, obviously there's going to be loads of Dutch fans. Obviously, the Austrian fans are going to be Red Bull fans. Do you think that really is going to G up the team as well as G up kind of Max to really perform to the absolute best that they can?
Well, I suppose it will. They say it's a good couple of tenths when you're in front of your home fans. Uh, Whether that will come to fruition, we'll just have to wait and see. But if any driver can, find a weekend to do something that's spectacular, it'll be Max Verstappen. It would probably be the Austrian Grand Prix. And then let's watch
Mm.
this. He'll bin it, end up having to take a power unit change, and start from the pits and finish 15th. There you go.
But what about his teammate, Sean? Yuki Tsunoda? He's obviously not having the best of time in Red Bull, but whoever has in that second seat. Can you see the crowd giving him those extra tenths to put him in the top 10, firstly in qualifying, and then scoring some decent points in the race?
I'd love to say yes. Obviously, you got what 12th in Canada last time out.
Mm.
13th the week before in Spain. It's a tough one because he had promised when he started off in the Red Bull, and he has the security of Red Bull will look like absolutely the worst people on earth if they dump him out again. Not that they don't already for those of us who are actually paying attention. Um, but it's really not going well for them. They have been smacking on so much downforce onto that car on tracks that shouldn't otherwise need it, just to give him some stability at the rear end. That alone screams that that car is built to be loose as hell at the back because that's how Max likes to drive the car. If anybody still for some
Mm.
reason has doubts that the concept of the car is designed to Max's preferences. Um, but I don't see this weekend getting any better for him because this is a low downforce track. This is a low downforce track in a car that is skitty as hell on the rear. Um, I think he's actually going to really struggle this weekend. And while yes, it's Red Bull's home race, it's it's a Max Verstappen crowd. It's not a Red Bull crowd. It never has been. It's a Max Verstappen crowd.
Mm.
So I'm not sure. I'd love to say he'll get the home field advantage kind of thing. But I mean, he didn't really get it in Japan either, did he? Where did he finish in
Very true.
Japan? He finished 12th in Japan. I mean, he's on a run of form of finishing 12th. He's oh, I don't know. I'd love to see him get a point this weekend, but I actually think this might be his worst weekend so far. I think just the way he's been. Next time out in Silverstone might be a different scenario, especially if it rains. If it rains this
Mm.
weekend, different story. High downforce, it'll help him, but he is having to lump downforce onto that car. And if he has to do that this weekend at a track that is super low downforce, he will be right at the back end. I don't know if you saw it in the past week. Without Max Verstappen, Red Bull would be last in the championship.
Yeah, but that's like saying,
Even allowing for the drivers gaining an extra position or two if Max just wasn't there. Without Max's points, they would be last in the champion, or maybe eighth in the
mm.
championship. But I feel bad for Yuki.
But you
Um,
can't say that you can't say that because he is part of the team. It's I hate those sorts of I apologize to you because you brought it up, but I hate those sorts of comparisons because I just think they're so ridiculous. But
they are a little
yeah,
bit, but it just it does a little bit highlight the gulf between
oh
Max
yeah, the
Verstappen
disparity between them.
and a car designed for Max Verstappen and his, let's be perfectly honest, generational ability to drive a car in a very, very, very unique way
Mm.
versus the second driver who just basically has the punishment of daring to not be Max Verstappen. I
Yeah,
like Yuki,
no,
but
I get it.
it's I think he's really going to struggle this weekend, unfortunately. I really hope I'm wrong, but I can't see this being anything other than a bad weekend for him.
Mm. Coops, other teams. We did mention slightly the Mercedes team. Obviously, Sean mentioned them a little bit earlier. But if we could go into a bit more detail, they seem to be grabbing the momentum, or certainly they did in the last race. All season, George Russell has just been fantastic and grabbing every single point that that car will allow him to get. Are we seeing the resurgence? Are we going to see a true title championship contender for the rest of the season? Or was it a one-off in Canada?
Right, settling at one off. George just became like how should we say, it's became more of a more complete driver as this season's went
Mm.
on. Uh, Kimi Antonelli's teammate, hasn't really done anything stupid, really glaringly, obviously daft mistakes. Not like Liam Lawson forgetting to turn off his DRS at the turn one in Japan.
Jack
Got to do
Doohan.
well. Yeah. So, and
That
he's
was
just
that was Doohan, not Lawson. Just
doing,
to
sorry, my apologies.
sorry,
Uh,
we hate on
Liam
Lawson
Law,
enough. Let's
okay,
give him his
so
juice.
doing into the wall and Liam Lawson punting Alonso into the wall in Miami. There we go.
That was
So,
it.
not as good as each other, just as bad. While listening to that song, anyway, so
You watched it then.
I did. With the image of that happening. Funny, funny. Uh, so, Kimmy's just slowly progressing where he needs to progress, and George has become the leader of that team. Interestingly, does not have a contract for next year. So,
Mm.
yeah, he's doing exactly what he needs to do, and I think he's going to be up there doing something, and he's going to annoy the hell out of Red Bull No, sorry, Max Verstappen and McLaren. While Ferrari just get really disappointed and cry into their bowls of pasta. So, yeah.
Sorry, I'm muting because there's a really squeaky train just arriving behind me. So I was trying to cut it out of the edit, but then you stopped talking. Um, can you hear it? It's
Mhm.
really squeaky.
No, it's gone now.
Okay. So Antonelli though is doing well for a rookie, Sean. He's really impressed me actually. You know, as Coop said, he hasn't made many mistakes at all. There's been one here or there, but nothing to write home about and kind of ridicule him at all. Certainly
Mm.
one of the rookies of the season. There's two in my mind that could be competing for that title of rookie of the season. But what do you think his prospects are for the weekend in Austria? Do you think he'll be, you know, on the tail of George and even on the tail of the McLarens?
Absolutely. He's coming off his first podium in Formula One, which is incredible. To achieve that already into this season, into his rookie season, as a kid who literally just completed his school exams,
Yeah,
he couldn't celebrate Canada because he had to go and study,
he had to. Yeah, he had to
which
go and
just
do his
which
exams.
was just mad. And makes it look like Max Verstappen was 1,000 when he joined Formula One by comparison. Um, but no, he's been impressive. He's not been without rookie mistakes, but how much can you knock him for rookie mistakes? I don't think
He's a
I think
rookie.
exactly. I think if a rookie makes stupid mistakes, I think you can knock them for it. I mean, the way I see it is the same as like football or rugby, or any professional sport. If you're deemed good enough to be put in this professional sport, or whatever age you are, then if you have your rookie errors, that's fine. If you do something daft, then you're determined to be old enough to take a bit of slack for it. He hasn't done anything even
Mm.
remotely close to earning any of that, I don't think.
No,
Not at
absolutely not.
all. He had a bit of a dip in Italy, in Imola. He even admitted himself that kind of the drama of the whole event, getting all of his classmates there, was maybe too much of distractions for him. He's admitted that himself. Fair play to him. He's kind of had the maturity to say, "I won't do that again, lads. I'm sorry. You can sit in the grandstand
Mm.
next time." But no, he's been really impressive. I think I know who you're talking about for the other one, and I completely agree. Isaac Hadjar has been. He's been my driver of the season so far, himself and George Russell. I think
Mm.
they've been phenomenal. But I'd also give a shout out to Gabriel Bortoleto. I know he hasn't set the world alight like the rest of them, but while the wheelie bin is more of a wheelbarrow now, it's gotten a little bit more useful.
Mm.
It's still a wheelie bin, and he's doing exactly what he needs to. He's keeping within touching distance of his wildly more experienced teammate in Nico Hulkenberg. Hulk's getting the story headlines for the points he's scoring, but Bortoleto was right
Mm.
there. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's very impressive. He's still the reigning F2 champion. He got his first win in Formula 2 this weekend last year in Austria. So wouldn't put it past him having a good weekend this year. He knows how to win. He literally knows how to win at this track. Not that he's going to win Formula One. He knows how to succeed at this track, I think is maybe a better
Yeah,
word to use.
perform to the best of his ability.
There you go. But yeah, the most of the rookies are having a good season, which is great to see.
Yeah, I mean, scratch off Doohan, Lawson, which is technically not a rookie, but he's a rookie because it's his first full season.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah,
the less said about that, the
we
better.
still we still land on most there.
Yeah, yeah. The 3 out of 5, or with a six. Who's this? There's a sixth, isn't there? Is there a sixth? Am I forgetting
Colapinto,
somebody? Colapinto, that's it.
technically.
Mm,
Ollie Behrman.
yeah, seven,
Yeah,
seven. Ollie
Ollie
Behrman, yeah,
Behrman, who's technically flying under the radar again.
and he did quite well last in the Canada as well, didn't he?
He
Was it Canada?
finished
Was it Canada that he got a point?
11th in Canada.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
he's flying
Just
under the radar because that Haas is freaking slow.
Yeah,
yeah, it
which
is.
is telling when you look at the constructors' championship. Um, but yeah, okay. Well, we've spoken about Mercedes. We think they've got a good chance this weekend to obviously take it to the McLarens and make it difficult for Red Bull to well, make it difficult for Max Verstappen to. Um, what about the Ferrari? Ferrari have had a nightmare. Toto Wolff's come out and defended Lewis Hamilton, saying Hamilton will take a half a season. Give him a chance. He'll be back, performing to the best of his ability at some point soon. Um, I fear, now I like Hamilton, but I fear that we've been saying that for 3 years now, and it just hasn't happened. I don't think he's lost it, and I'm not saying, he has lost it, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting for him to show that thing. I'm hoping it will be at Silverstone when they bring their upgrade package that the Ferraris are bringing. But him and his teammate Charles Leclerc haven't been performing the best. They've done okay. Um, Ferrari have been doing Ferrari things with their decision making on the pit wall. Um, Coops, what do you reckon to Ferrari in this weekend in Austria?
Oh, I'm not holding out any hope. If you're a fan of Ferrari, you just be perennial disappointed, if that's the right way to
Hmm.
say it, because it's just they started off they missed out by the constructors last year by 14 points, which is nothing.
Hmm.
Everyone's like, oh, it's going to be a four-way fight, it's going to be this, it's going to be that, and they were nowhere. And the only way they won
Hmm.
the sprint in China was to put the car that low. It was illegal. Uh, so,
Yeah, but the sprint wasn't long enough to wear down the plank in time, just like the
oh yeah.
fully fledged race was.
Um, and then is it John Elkman, I want to say, who came out
Yeah.
and said that when they were talking about the Ferrari Le Mans team and about the guy who ran that team, can't remember his name, basically made a comment along the lines of that's when you have everybody working for you, or words to that effect. Look what happens when things go right, and kind of, pointing the finger. The biggest thing about that is he was the guy who wanted Fred Vasseur in Ferrari. Now
Hmm.
he's making comments like that. It's
This is
just
what always happens though with Ferrari. You always get a couple of seasons with a new team principal, and then the board start slating them. The board start questioning their decisions. They never ever look at Williams. What Ferrari need to do, and this is going to sound really, really strange. Ferrari need to do what Williams have done with James Foles. They've really trusted him. They've said, "What do you need? How long is it going to take? We're not going to pressure you to do anything ridiculous and to get results within an X amount of years. We want you to dictate how long you think that's going to happen." They've given him freedom. They've given him just the ability to make decisions or make the wrong decisions. He's even said in podcasts that I've listened to about it. This is what Ferrari need to do. They need to say, "Look, you've got the reins. This is your show. Do what we know you can do. Bring the best out of the team. Hire people you want around you, and yeah, just we're going to give you 5 years to win." Obviously, with Williams, 5 years is, you know, in comparison to how bad they've had it over the last 10 years, say, or even a bit longer actually. But but Ferrari, the problem with Ferrari is there's the urgency because it's that brand name. They're selling sports cars, they're
Mm.
selling this, that, and the other, and they feel that pressure from the sales side, and they just try and rush things along too quickly. We need to be there. We need to do this deadline, or you're out, or you're out. This deadline here, this amount of points. They're far too regimented, and they don't allow that kind of creative freedom. And they could take a note from kind of Williams in that sense. Yeah, Sean, you're nodding. Hopefully, I made sense in that ramble that I made there. But do you agree with some of what I just said?
Ferrari are the Manchester United of Formula One, aren't they?
Mm.
They always blame one person rather than the system that's actually the problem. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. And I think you look at what Fred Vasseur has actually genuinely, tangibly achieved with that team. He got Charles Leclerc a win in Monaco and Monza, which is,
Mm.
that is level one. Tick, done, success. He brought Lewis Hamilton into the team a year in advance. Nobody is going to achieve that ever again. Nobody is ever going to achieve that for Ferrari of that level, bringing in a seven-time world champion.
Mm.
Doesn't matter who he is or what his performance is this year or last year. And I agree. I think he's lost it. He hasn't lost it. These cars don't suit him. I've been saying that for years. This generation
Yeah.
of cars does not suit Lewis Hamilton at all. And I said it last year, moving to Ferrari is not going to fix that. It didn't. Shocking. But Fred Vasseur is the best thing that's happened to Ferrari in a long time. But once again, we're kind of getting to the stage of he's had the early success and now he's asking for more, demanding for more, wanting to make changes, and the board are like, oh no, we're Ferrari, we don't do that. No, 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 no. You need to just win it. Just win it, just win it all. Bribe the FIA if you have to. Hilariously, you'd think Mohammed Ben Sulayem seems pretty bribable, but of everyone, he is the most corrupt person who's ever led the FIA, and for some reason, maybe that's just it. Maybe Fred Vasseur is just too good a guy. Maybe they need Flavio Briatore to be
I said
slipping
that
some.
about 6 podcasts ago, I think.
Yeah, and there, I literally read a completely unverified article this week that he's next up, and his big master plan for Alpine is just to put himself kind of in the eye of Ferrari to go, look, I make ruthless decisions. Come on, have me, lads. It's not going to happen, but Ferrari are Ferrari, and it's. I'm not even a Ferrari fan, but it's so hard to see them constantly be like this. McLaren got out of it. McLaren did it the right.
Mm.
McLaren had their enigmatic leader in Ron Dennis, who came in and proudly announced you'll never win in Formula One in the modern era with a customer engine. What did McLaren do last year? They won with a customer engine, and this year they're going
Yeah.
to do it again because he was wrong, really wrong. Hilariously, if they'd have kept with that engine, they'd have won eventually, the Honda engine, so he'd eventually have been right, but he wasn't right. Doesn't matter. Um,
Yeah.
the board came in and go, right, okay, this isn't working. We need full change. Bring in Zach Brown. Zach Brown, here you go. Here is carte blanche. Do
Mm.
whatever the hell you need to do for the next 10 years. Get us back into the championship. He's been there since 2017. They won the championship 7 years later. It was a slog. It was a really, really tough time. 17 and 18 in particular were just atrocious. Um, but
Difficult years
he's
for a McLaren fan.
I literally saw a picture comparison the other day of the 2018 McLaren, which was just a horrible shade of orange with five
Mm.
sponsors, compared to the absolutely stunning black and orange one from this year with 58 sponsors on it. And Zach Brown is a salesman. Zach Brown is a
Mm.
salesman who likes racing. That's what it takes, and he's really charismatic. And now you've exactly as you mentioned, James Vowles is doing the exact same thing. He came in, Williams said, "Here is carte blanche, James. You do whatever you need to do." And they've given him another one. They've just signed a new long-term contract with him. And what's the first thing he does in his first major year? He brings in Carlos Sainz from Ferrari, who's a multiple race winner, who's gone toe to toe with
Mm.
arguably the most fastest one lap driver in the whole sport, Charles Leclerc, who many think is
Mm.
a multiple world champion just waiting for Ferrari to get their act together. Brings in Carlos Sainz and then brings in the biggest title sponsorship deal in Formula One history with Atlassian. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it, and
Mm.
it's not on Fred Vasseur. What's not going right at Fred Vasseur is not Ferrari is not on Fred Vasseur. It's on the board for not letting him do what Zach Brown has done, and now what James Vowles is doing.
Do you want to add anything, Coops? I mean, we've talked quite a lot about Ferrari and their shenanigans during the podcast, but we may as well get three opinions. What do you think?
I think a lot of people forget that Ferrari is an institution in Italy, and everything they do is on the front page of most of the papers, and it's scrutinised. Like, McLaren being last was mentioned and discussed in the UK, media, but it kept within the F1 circle, and you kind of knew they were awful and they were rebuilding. Williams were the same.
Mm.
In Italy, Ferrari and Formula One is at the front page, and it's discussed over, espressos and pastas in coffee shops and wherever else around Italy. Even where the factory is, there's literally nothing in it. The base in Maranello and is it Modena? It's just Ferrari and Formula One, and it's I think there's a different level of scrutiny. The people don't get the opportunity to do the 7-10 year plans because they're not allowed to. They'd be
Yeah, well,
paying for
it's
blood
been
outside.
18 years. It's been 18 years. So if they'd have set a 10-year target and given somebody a 10-year target within, at the many opportunities that they had for changes of regulations that we had in 2014, changes of regulations that we had in 2022, if they'd given somebody 10 years to get the car, get the team, get everyone behind you, and we give you the carte blanche that the Williamses, the McLarens have, they could be, I'm not saying they would be because, who knows, but they could be just like McLaren and competing for a champion. It's been 18 years since their last championship. That's just
No, I mean, it
ludicrous.
is, but the problem you have in Italy is to have someone, you're going to need someone who's extremely, extremely brave for the, in the simplest of terms, to turn around and tell the Italians, yes, your your sacred Ferrari team are going to be awful. Slowly but surely, we're going to build this over the next 10 years. Yeah, patience when it comes to Italy and Ferrari and Italians and Ferrari
But
do
we've
not
had
go hand in
18
hand.
years already.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about 18 years. It matters now. And now they were excited. They had Lewis Hamilton coming in. The cars were looking really good. They were progressing, and it's went the opposite way. So they want
They
something,
need to
and they need to see
they need
change.
they need to switch off development now. Completely switch off the development for this year. Focus on 2026. They're not going to win the championship. They're not going to compete for the championship. They're not going to get second place probably at this rate. I mean, they're only, I think they're third, aren't they? Currently, but
I don't think they are actually getting many upgrades. I think there is a back end coming for Silverstone, but I don't think there's much more.
yeah.
Uh,
So they just need to focus on next year and give their drivers. I'm not saying give Lewis Hamilton before everyone screams Lewis Hamilton fanboy. No, both of their drivers who are world-class drivers, give them both a decent car for 2026. Scrap this one. Just manage until the end of the year and just come out of the gates as quick as you can next year and be the Ferrari that we need and we know that they can be. Yeah, I'm just checking the constructors. They are still third in the constructors championship. They're 16 points off Mercedes in second, and they're just above Red Bull with 21 points ahead of Red Bull. So, I mean, Max Verstappen alone could make that gap and bridge that gap in no time at all. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm happy that we've chatted about Ferrari and the state of Ferrari, but we should move on to another team or any other teams. Coops, you mentioned earlier that Nico Hulkenberg is on a resurgence. Are you hoping that
yeah.
Nico will continue that resurgence in Austria, and will Gabriel Bortoleto continue his fairly good run of form and just be just behind his teammate as well?
I mean, there's nothing to say they won't. They've. Excuse me. I just started thinking about Haas and Formula One there, and I got really bored. Uh,
Yeah,
so
we won't
yeah,
talk about them.
yeah, no, they're they've whatever it is they've done to the car. It was quite a substantial upgrade a few races ago. It's a good car. It's a solid all-round car. It's not spectacular. It's not an absolute tractor. but it's a good, solid car for what they're looking for. It's got the potential to get points, and for state soon to be Audi, that's all you need. You
Mm.
just need that decent foundation because next season is effectively a reset. You want yourself to get a wee bit extra, euros in the bank for the start of next season. So, and I'm sure the Hulk will be there or thereabouts. I would like to see Bortoletto maybe get one over on him, just as a wee bit of a confidence boost.
Mm.
Maybe qualify a couple of places in front, even just one in front, get himself into Q3, maybe top end of Q2 would be nice. And then we just
Yeah.
take it from there. But yeah, I think they'll be in the kind of midfield, the top end of the midfield, having a decent wee scrap.
And Sean Williams, we mentioned him obviously when we were talking about Ferrari, but what do you think of the chances of Carlos Sainz, who is the current lap record holder there in Austria, and his teammate Alexander Albon? What do you reckon about their chances this weekend?
I think this weekend is going to suit them a bit better, because while they've done a really, really good job to kind of move away from the stigma of, oh, we're just fast in a straight line. Fact of the matter is,
Mm.
they still are fast in a straight line, very fast in a straight line. They've just made the car a little bit more balanced, particularly in high speed, where they've struggled the past couple of weeks, by their own admission, is in the slow speed, Monaco, Spain, um, Imola, and Canada. All tracks. I know Canada has high straights, but it's also got really, really annoyingly fiddly slow speed corners, which they just
Mm.
really couldn't come to grips with. Austria and Silverstone after that, and Belgium, and Hungary, and Zandvoort are all, and Italy. So they have a run of races now. They need to really, really hammer in fifth place, which I do think that this is the start now. I think this is going to be a good weekend for Williams. Am I right in saying Sainz was on the podium here last year? So I think, yeah, I'm looking forward to Williams this weekend. I really, really hope that the two of them can do a good job. I think double points should be the utter minimum for them again. They need to get back into that kind of form for this weekend. And yeah, I think this track is. I know the turn. It's turn three. It's not so really the second turn. It's officially the first. Is a really, really awkward, fiddly right-hander off camber up a hill. Uh, that one corner I think might hurt them in qualifying maybe a little bit, but in the race, if they can qualify, if they get into the top 10, if they get in the race, that car is a rocket ship still in a straight line. I think we can see a good old-fashioned Alex Albon DRS train forming in this weekend to the team's benefit for a double points finish.
And Coops, I'll leave you with Flavio Briatore's team. That's the Alpine team of Pierre Gasly and Colapinto. Are they going to be as anonymous as they have been pretty much all season? We've seen a few little flashes. They've been on my screen a couple of times, but not very often.
What team is this? Who are they? How do you spell that?
Alpine.
Meorcedes.
I mean, they're going to be there on the grid somewhere. We'll see what happens. Uh, yeah.
So yeah, okay, fair enough. Did you want to mention the Haas team to round? Oh no, we've got Haas and Aston Martin. Sorry, Haas and Aston Martin. Aston Martin.
Oh,
Sure. What do you reckon about Aston Martin?
Do I have to reckon anything about Aston Martin? I think Fernando will do well this weekend. Fernando always does well this weekend. Hilariously, I had it in my notes for the movie review that we're going to do. One of the most believable things, not really much of a spoiler, one of the most believable things about that movie is that Lance Stroll got overtaken by a fake team. So there you go. That is what I think about Aston Martin at the moment. One thing that I think is really important to mention this weekend, though, is there is some driver lineup changes.
Ooh.
Some exciting driver lineup changes. Having briefly said hello to him yesterday at the movie premiere, Alex Dunn will be taking Lando Norris's seat in FP1 in McLaren, which is, and I have my facts on this, the first time an Irish-born driver will have taken place in a Formula One session since 1982. because Ralph Furman was British born. He raced under an Irish license, but he wasn't Irish born. So
Irvine.
he's no
Is it?
Republic of Ireland born.
Ah, okay. Sorry. I
Yes,
get the two islands mixed up.
Irvine raced under a Northern Irish flag. He didn't race under the Irish flag. No,
Fair
the
enough.
last one before Ralph Furman, who drove for Jordan, so went full Irish on that one, was Tommy Byrne, who made his debut at Austria in
Ooh,
1982. He raced 5 races that year, but he failed to qualify for a lot of them. But yeah,
Very
so
interesting. Read a very interesting documentary about him. He's a very interesting character.
Tommy
Uh,
Byrne, yes,
yeah.
he is.
Uh, he was someone he couldn't deal with the politics of Formula One. Just was not in his character. Couldn't deal with it. Rubbed everybody up the wrong way. But unbelievably fast. If he was able to give that opportunity, it would have been amazing if he was able to stay in at Formula One and just got someone there to just teach him a wee bit about the
Hmm.
politics. Uh,
Well, there you
but
go. 42 years since an Irish-born driver
wow.
racing under the tricolour Irish flag has taken part in a Formula One session. So congratulations to Alex Dunn. I dare say most of Ireland will actually watch Formula One this weekend, which is great because every single sports channel, Instagram account, blog in Ireland has been going mad for this kid this year, which is so good to see. I grew up with very
Fantastic.
little input from Formula One from the media, despite the fact that like we had a team in the sport with a team owner who was from my hometown. It wasn't very prevalent here when I was growing up, certainly not for me. And everyone's going mad for him now, which is really, really fantastic. So he's going to be driving for McLaren this weekend in FP1. Poor Lando, because he just last year didn't go great. I'm sure he'd love a bit of practice, but there it is. But also another change is where is it? Dino Beganovic is going to be driving for Ferrari this weekend. I believe
Yeah,
he's taking Charles Leclerc's car, if I'm not wrong.
he is.
Um, so really great to see the F2 two exciting young F2 talents stepping up this weekend. And I think both of them will be racing in Formula 2 this weekend as well. So lots to look forward to this weekend if you are a Formula 2 fan.
Okay, I think we've mentioned everything that we need to mention about the Austrian Grand Prix. Apart from, of course, our predictions, I'm going to do sharp, snappy, like we did in the Canadian preview.
right, not
And
too
I'm
sharp because I've got to write this stuff down.
Hmm.
oh, okay. Get your pen and paper ready. Mm.
Pencil.
Pencil. Is that so you can rub it out when you make a mistake?
No, I just like the way it writes.
It's um, it's definitely not a sprint race weekend, is it? I'm just checking.
It's
Because
not.
No, it's not.
that's something I didn't.
It's not because and I checked that because it was last year, but because the two lads are taking part in FP1, they wouldn't be if it was a sprint race because it would
Oh,
be
of
the only
course,
practice
of
session.
course. That makes sense. Total sense. So, all we need then is a who will be the pole sitter for the qualifying on Saturday. Sean,
Charles Leclerc.
Coops.
George Russell.
I'm going to say Oscar Piastri. Right, we need a top three. Sean
George Russell, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc.
and Coops.
Eh, Piastri, Russell, Lando.
That's what I was going to say. I'm going to change it. I'll change it. I'll say Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Kimi Antonelli,
You need to repeat
and
that one. What did you
what's
say?
wrong with that? I said Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Kimi Antonelli.
Max, Piastri,
Yeah,
and
Do you think Kimi's going
and
back to back on his podiums?
how great would that be? It'd be superb.
okay. Any
Uh,
wild cards? I think. I
bold,
think.
bold prediction for Sean.
Hmm.
Yeah, shut up
My
and let me ask it. Bold prediction for Sean.
My bold prediction is Alex Dunn sets the fastest time in FP1. Let's have it.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
I mean,
Coops, bold
score.
prediction.
What was mine? Max Verstappen DNF.
Oh, don't give me
And
hope.
I'm going to say my bold prediction will be. Is it bold enough? Probably not really that bold. 2 point scoring Williams.
Come on.
Probably not very bold. Not very bold this
I
time.
was called boring for that a couple of weeks ago, but
Yeah. It is a boring prediction, really, but it'd be nice to see. Okay, well, that's it for our Austrian preview. We hope you enjoy the race this weekend. We'll be back to review it, obviously, next week at some point, when we can organise us all and get us all together. We're going to head into our preview of the, not a preview, we're going to head into our review of the F1 movie and just have a little brief chat about the film. But thank you very much for tuning into the Everything F1 podcast today. We'll be back next week to discuss the Austrian Grand Prix and all the events that occurred. Please visit us on our socials. We're on Facebook, Insta, X, TikTok, you name it. We're everywhere at the handle at Join EF1. Apart from TikTok, we are at EF1 Official. You can also find us on our website, www.everythingf1.com. where we'll update on a daily basis news from around the F1 world and, of course, the wider motorsport world as well. And please hit the subscribe on your favourite podcast streaming service to get all of our latest podcasts in your earlobes as soon as they drop. Visit our sponsors, theraceworks.com, for 10% off site-wide all your F1 merch. Get merch like this. I'm wearing this Golf McLaren top that I bought from the website a while ago now. But yeah, you get your 10% off using the discount code EF1. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube to be in with a chance to win one of the Lego Speed Champions sets. As soon as we hit 500 subscribers, we'll be giving one away. And then when we hit 1,000, we'll be doing it again. So just hit subscribe and enter that competition. And of course, get to see all this great content too. That's it for me, James Tiller, and that's it from my team, Coops and Sean. Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Goodbye.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.